I just see more people getting on. You want to sit here?
Hi, Kimberly.
Hello, how are you?
Excellent. You gotta sit where you can. Let's see. Hi, Kim.
Hello.
Okay, there we go. We're all in. Can you see all this? Oh, dang, and I don't got no paper. Hello, Miss Devine.
Hello, how are you?
Excellent. That sun is in. That sun out of here. It's beaming off.
Hi, Addie.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Mike.
Hello.
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 Hello, Mr. Fiffik.
Hello. The lights are kind of dark.
Hi, Miss Noemi.
Hi, Kim.
I like your top. Is that a dress?
No, it's just a top, but thank you.
I like it. It's really cute.
Then what if you turn the light on?
Turn it on.
Say turn the light on and see what happens. No, that's a gold.
That's the sun. The sun.
Can y'all see y'all faces good?
But why don't we move down away from the sun? Hello.
Okay. I wonder if I should get on that side.
Yeah, you could, like between me and her. While we play musical chairs here.
Hopefully you're all in air conditioning tonight. It's kind of toasty out there, right? I haven't been outside since this morning.
It's pretty humid also.
Yeah.
How are you, Michael?
Great. Great, thanks.
Good. I'll take this over freezing rain any day.
Got that right.
Well, I guess I should say hello and make sure that my mic is working. My name is Loretta Barbie-Dare. I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I've been a LegalShield member since 1993. And thank you for hosting this. I was really looking forward for you coming to Harrisburg in June, but I guess COVID had other ideas. So thank you for doing this.
It did. We're going to make it out there sometime here. Hopefully this year we'll be able to do that.
I hope
We like our road shows. We like our road shows. So we hope to come to Philly as well. I think we originally anticipated doing that in August. If the state ever lets you all go to green, we'll go out there at some point.
No, I don't know.
So you're still going to Philadelphia in August?
We're going to try to get on the road this year, government permitting. I'm waiting for Noemi to make a face at me.
Absolutely. Well, we hope you can make it this way, and if not, thank you for this. We appreciate it.
Now, I guess I should caution everybody, there should be no driving and zooming at the same time. We don't want anybody having any accidents, right? We don't want to create any T2 traffic benefit opportunities here on this as a result of the Zoom.
You're such a lawyer, Mike. I mean that in a good way.
I only play one on TV.
I don't believe that.
So we'll wait for a few more minutes for others to join us. We have about 50 folks registered to attend, so I'm hoping we'll get quite a few of them to be able to participate.
That's a big number.
It is a good number. I'm
That'd be
looking
great.
forward to seeing everybody and sharing some thoughts, hopefully not too many, and then hearing what everybody else has to say. I'm anxious to hear what's going on out there in the marketplace.
Mr. Fiffik, how are you today?
Good, Rod. How about yourself?
Wonderful, by choice.
I see Roger and Claire Cranville are joining us. I haven't seen you folks for quite some time. So glad you're able to join us.
Good to be in the air conditioning, Mike.
It is definitely good to be in air conditioning. How's your deck, by the way? Hopefully it's held up.
It's absolutely brilliant.
Great.
Did you hear about it the other day?
No.
Oh, cool. Oh, dear. That's a success story if ever there was one. I'll let Phil Berger tell it.
Okay. I don't know if they can hear us.
We can hear you.
Okay.
It's been kind of quiet at the office here these last couple of months. Of course, it's never really very loud since the majority of everybody that I have works at home. So, right?
You're welcome.
Right. I've been coming into the office since the middle of March to preserve my marriage and my kids because they would probably strangle me if I was home every day.
That's very astute. Good self-awareness.
That's right. My wife works in a continuing care retirement community, so she's always at risk. But fortunately, she's stayed healthy.
That's lucky. Scary place to work right now.
It sure is.
But thank goodness for those people who can do that.
Yes,
Someone has to. That's great.
absolutely. They're the heroes. They're the heroes during this time.
They didn't let her work remotely?
I'm sorry?
They didn't let her work remotely?
She's the general counsel, so she's part of the leadership team. She pretty much has to show up.
Oh,
But they are very rigorous in their safety protocols, as you might imagine, in a place full of fragile people.
Right.
She's been well taken care of. So they've had a very, very low incidence of COVID patients. They actually had a 99-year-old resident contract COVID and recover and move back in.
Really?
Unbelievable.
Wow, that is unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is amazing.
That person is meant to be here for sure.
Absolutely. Lord still got some work for him.
Something to do, right.
Well,
There's
I'm going
Noemi.
to go ahead and start here that we're at 5:35. I don't want to run short of time. So thank you all again for agreeing to participate. I'm very pleased to have some of my staff members participating in the call as well. I'll introduce them. Belinda Lasson is the supervising attorney. She's waving hi. So she's my right-hand person to crack the whip on my frontline attorneys, two of whom are joining us tonight. Laura Devine and Ada Kurtanich is on the phone as well. They are relatively new additions to our staff and have been really just wonderful additions to the crew. If you've had the pleasure of talking to either of them, you know that that is absolutely true. They're doing a wonderful job. There is barely a week that goes by that Laura does not get a praise card. Now, I'm not sure whether she's doing more than one consult a week in order to get those.
I just do one really good one.
The members really seem to like her, so we're very happy. And last but not least is Noemi Reyes, who is the administrator for our LegalShield division. And she really is the paddle that keeps the boats rowing and moving along the way and keeps things happening. So we really couldn't do it without her. So I have a few introductory comments to share with you. I thought I would talk to you a little bit about our COVID experience, right, with the firm, and also talk to you, give you some numbers. If you're a numbers or a statistics type person, just share some information with you about what COVID looked like to us from the numbers. And then I want to talk to you a little bit about my view of what I think we're really in a tremendous time of opportunity for LegalShield in the non-traditional delivery services. And then I want to open it up to you all for questions. I can't promise that I'll have any answers, nor anything that's worth taking down in notes, but I'll try my best to answer your questions and try to keep this engaging. So with that, I'm going to try to share my screen because I have a PowerPoint that I'll show to you. And let's see if we can make that happen. So, Laura, do you see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, so let's make this go full screen. All right. Let's see if this works. Okay. So I think this quote sort of sums up my thoughts about the COVID pandemic and as it relates to what we're all involved in, which is the provision of legal services. And COVID-19 continues to increase enormously the life-altering civil legal needs faced by Americans, and access to legal services can be a game changer in addressing those needs. And I'll probably continue to come back to this theme or this thought because it really is the basis for a lot of the things that we've been talking about today. So you may have heard this expression during this COVID pandemic, pivot, don't panic. Things changed on us, and you can respond in a variety of ways. One would be to panic over the situation, or you have to pivot and just be ready to adjust how you're doing things in order to adapt to the changed environment. And I would like to commend my entire staff because we were really, really very well prepared for what the COVID pandemic brought to us in the way of changes. In 2019, we had already moved our telephone systems into the cloud. So the tools that we use to talk to folks on the phone would be, and some of us have a desk phone, but the majority of us either use our computers with a headphone to talk to them, like Addie. You might see Addie with the headphones on. That's what she uses to talk to everybody on the phone. Or we have an app that is on our mobile phones, and we use that app to call people. So wherever we are, we are connected to you. It doesn't matter. We can be anywhere in the country. We do have attorneys all over the place. We can be anywhere and still communicate with you. So being in an office really does not, being tethered to an office does not and has not impacted our ability to continue receiving your calls. Even our customer service representatives all work from home. So whenever you're calling us to initiate a request for services, you're talking to one of our customer service representatives in their home. We also moved our productivity software into the cloud as well. So our ability to write letters, or review documents, or do all of those things that we need to do in order to provide services to LegalShield members, all of that software and all of those capabilities are also in the cloud. And so all we really need, in addition to a computer or a mobile phone or an iPad of some kind, we can do our work on any of those devices. All we need is an internet connection. So quite literally, my attorneys and my staff cannot take vacation any longer, because as long as they have an internet connection, I can ask them to do work for me and for you and for you. So wherever there is an internet connection, we again are connected to you and have the ability to provide services to you. We transitioned most of our LegalShield staff home in 2019, and that really began, I'd say, maybe September or so of last year, where we started transitioning our support staff and our attorneys into a home working environment. And we took our time in doing that to make sure that we could iron out any bumps in the road and make sure that they had good voice quality whenever they're talking to LegalShield members on the phone, and everything is connected correctly, and they have a good internet service provider, and all of those types of things that are necessary for them to be able to work from home. We had already transitioned them home and began the experiment or the learning process of managing what is often called a distributed workforce. So whenever you're not all together all of the time, it really takes a lot of energy and effort to continue to stay connected as a team. And we're all working together on some aspect of what we do for all of you and all of our members. And so we work hard to try to stay connected. That might be with Monday morning staff calls where we have a touch base point. We use Teams, Microsoft Teams, to continue to stay in touch with one another. We have virtual meetings like we're having now. We do a lot of things in order to stay connected and skilled and trained and just do the best job that we can do for all of you and for all of our members. And then fortuitously, as many of you know, if you were able to come visit us before the pandemic shut us all down, we moved. We moved out of downtown Pittsburgh into the nearby suburb of Greentree, and we're in Foster Plaza. So we're in a new building. And that really turned out to be fortuitous because our old building shut down. So all of the attorneys that were there were no longer able to access their building, and they couldn't get their files and all of those other things that they needed to do their work. But our office is very well managed, our building, and we were able to continue to have access to our offices. So we've had a skeleton crew here in the office managing all of the things that needed to be managed here in order to make sure that the remainder of our staff could continue providing services in an uninterrupted fashion. So that's just a little brief touch point on what we did to prepare for the pandemic. So it really wasn't that big of a deal for us. It wasn't a big adjustment because we were already accustomed to doing what we're doing while working from home the vast majority of the year. So let's do some numbers. And the good news here is utilization is up this year. And so there's going to be a lot of statistics here. And I'm going to try to do a quick overview of these. And maybe sometime when we have a little bit more time, we can kind of dig into them. But let's see if you can see my cursor. I'm sort of moving it here in the chart with the lines on the bottom left of your screen. Hopefully it's the bottom left. And you'll see that in 2018, these are our requests for services. 2019, they were generally up. In 2020, we had a little dip. Our call volume did go down slightly right after the pandemic shutdown. but it has since come back with a vengeance. And our utilization rates are really they went very much up in May. You can see that May of 2020 is much higher than 2019 and higher again than in 2018. So more members are using the membership. And really our membership numbers, our gross membership numbers, the number of members that we have, is by and large been about the same for the last couple of years. So utilization is up, and we like it when people call us to use the services. We get a lot of statistics. We can tell the generational breakdown, the breakdown of the source of memberships that are calling us, and in particular, you'll see here in this area of law, we get a breakdown of the area of law, and the most popular requests in estate planning, consumer finance, by far and away the most frequent reasons for us getting called. Let's see what else we have here. I think that's the same chart. Okay, this is the same report, except this is only for 2020. And it's a little bit more of a detailed view. And you can see that in January, our January numbers were higher than the prior Januaries. We did go down a little bit here in March, bottomed out in April, although March and April were statistically about the same. And then we have really come back in May, big time. And again, this year, you'll see that estate planning, consumer finance were big issues for us, but employment really moved up the ladder, as did landlord tenant. We have a lot of requests for services for this is another chart that again shows a comparison. So you'll have the green, which is March of 2019, and then next to it is March of 2020, as a comparison of the areas of law that dominate our calls and where they rank. And we found that during the COVID pandemic, maybe not surprising, our traffic, the number of traffic calls that we received went down dramatically. People just weren't driving. That's all there was to it. Civil litigation requests for services also went down because the courts basically closed for all intents and purposes. So there was a lot less in the way of civil litigation happening. But our requests for services for landlord tenant, for employment law, and especially for estate planning really went up during the March, April, and May time periods during the COVID pandemic. So we definitely saw some changes in the hot areas of law that people were calling us. This is more of a graphic representation of the issues that were important to our members during the COVID pandemic. And you'll see on the left, this is really the one that I would focus on. These are year-over-year changes. So 2020 compared to 2019. And you'll see estate planning is up, employment, landlord-tenant, business. We have lots of interest in business-related matters. Pennsylvania has a tremendous appetite for business-related matters, I'll tell you. Contract, which might have been insurance-related matters, and collection matters. Traffic went way down, civil litigation. Surprising to us, family law, we thought that was going to be an issue that was a bigger issue. It might have been in March, but it wasn't. It didn't have a lot of persistency after things sort of settled in with some of those very beginning issues. And real estate went down too because the real estate market basically shut down. We couldn't do any real estate closings for a couple of months after the pandemic. Okay, will questionnaires received year over year. April, remarkable in the increase, a 200% increase over the number of questionnaires that we received in April of 2019. Big time increase in the number. I see some folks are posting to chat. I'm going to just save those until a little bit later. In May, the increase in will questionnaires isn't nearly as dramatic, but it's definitely up. We're happy to see more people asking for getting their wills done. We're very happy to see that. We hope to continue to scratch that itch and help people scratch that itch and have that trend continue. This chart may be a little bit difficult to see, but it's the year-over-year change. Again, this is just another way of looking at it. 50% increase in estate planning and will requests. Traffic is down. Criminal requests for criminal-related matters went down. Landlord-tenant is up 35%. Employment-related requests for service is up over 60%. Again, these are issues that were important to members during the COVID pandemic. So you might wonder what our member reaction was, and we're very happy to say that customer satisfaction is up. We gauge member satisfaction, two different metrics, this Net Promoter Score, and then also the member satisfaction quotient. And as you can see, it steadily climbed, and we're well above average amongst all provider firms, above average as it relates to the home office. So our customer service satisfaction, folks are just very happy with the services that we're providing to them. And it's really reflected in the notes that we get back from members. We really, really appreciate whenever members respond to the surveys that they get and that they put comments in them. We read all of them. They're very important to us. And these really are a great window into how folks are reacting to what we're doing and to the membership itself and the benefits that are covered under the membership. We take a look at those. And we spend a lot of time talking about customer service related matters. As I'm sure Laura and Addie can attest to, there isn't a Monday morning phone call that goes by where we don't talk about connecting with members in an empathetic way and communicating with them just to make their experience as rich as it can be and as satisfying as it can be. We really want them to call us and feel that they've been heard. Right? We really want them to feel that they've been heard. And so these are just a couple of comments that were returned to us on the surveys. LegalShield has been a lifesaver for my family. When legal problems come up, I know that I have someone to talk to. Thank God for LegalShield. I mean, really can't just, it's a wonderful thing that folks are saying out there. They handled my situation quickly, and I was very pleased with the outcome. Wonderful team of lawyers that are always pleasant to work with. These are just wonderful responses that we receive from folks, and we're very, very happy that they send in. And we're happy that they're here. So I wanted to just take a few moments to talk about, share my thoughts on this extraordinary opportunity that we all have in front of us. You know, COVID really reinforces, or has reinforced, the necessity for access to civil justice. You know, it's like a light. You know, it shines a spotlight on the civil justice gap that's already been out there. It's been out there for quite some time. The COVID pandemic really created a plethora of legal issues, whether they were housing security issues, they were tenant matters, mortgage foreclosures, folks not being able to pay their mortgage or their rent because they lost their jobs or were laid off, employment-related matters. Covered under that would be applying for and qualifying for unemployment comp or pandemic unemployment assistance, especially for folks who were self-employed or independent contractors. The state had like a 1 month delay before they made that application available for anybody. Really just inexcusable, the delay that they had there. The state panicked. It wasn't ready to pivot and sent its workforce to work from home. So they had a lot of adjusting to do on the fly, and that kind of visited itself in their inability to provide services to Pennsylvanians. And it was really hurt folks from an economic standpoint. We were really hearing that directly from members. Domestic abuse-related issues, debt collection issues, and elder abuse and elder-related issues as well. These are all issues that were created. And then you have all of the other business problems that folks trying to figure out how they're going to continue to run their business, pay their bills, pay their rent, keep employees. And we got a lot of requests for services on that type of thing. So the fact that COVID created such a huge need for access to legal services, legal aid programs received over $100 million in funding, additional funding, from the couple of of the laws that were passed, the HEROES Act, the CARES Act, all included some funding for legal aid programs out there, 100 million plus whatever money was allocated from state programs as well to provide access. It was really in response to that tremendous need. And I have a couple of statistical pieces of information here for you. Less than 25% of civil justice problems are taken to an attorney for advice or representation. That's just a statistical truth. I mean, it's really a shame that folks have legal problems and they never go to get anybody to help for it. And Americans, one of the big reasons why they don't is because they don't think of their problems in legal terms. I mean, they are justice problems, they are legal problems, but they don't realize it. We have a job to do to educate them that the problems that they're having have some type of a legal connection to it, or that there is a solution that is potentially available for them under the law. The most common reason folks don't seek a lawyer or connect into the legal system to get their problem solved is that they just don't consider it at all. And my suggestion to you is that that is a problem created by the way the system is developed. And that's really the reason why that's developed, that paradigm, is the cost factor, right? The cost of hiring a lawyer, the cost of engaging in the civil justice system is expensive. And that perception puts going to a lawyer or connecting into the legal system out of people's minds. It's just not accessible. They don't think that the legal system is accessible to them. And so they don't go get the help that they need. And they really do need it. Civil justice problems that go unresolved can create additional social, economic, and health problems that become costly burdens to both those who experience those problems as well as society at large. And I think there is the beginnings of this is a truth, right? You don't have to take my word for it. This is a quote from the document called The Civil Legal Needs and Public Understanding, prepared by Rebecca Sandifer, who's a sociologist who is studying the legal services for the American Bar Foundation. And they're starting to become an awareness of this, right? Where they're realizing that folks have to have access to civil justice, because if they don't, it's more costly for society. It really is. There's a huge need out there that is going unfulfilled. What I would suggest to you that LegalShield is an effective strategy, an effective way of trying to solve this civil justice gap. Studies show that LegalShield membership benefits are not only effective, but they're essential. And I am doing what I'm suggesting to you. I'm taking this information from a report, right? And it's the report called The Final Report on the Assessment of Telephone-Based Legal Assistance. This is a report prepared at the request of the Pennsylvania Interest on Lawyers' Trust Accounts Board. It's a board that collects interest on money that lawyers have in their trust accounts, and that money is used to fund public service providers of legal services in the state. And they commissioned this study to determine the effectiveness of telephone-based legal assistance. And I have some highlights from that report to share with you, because I think they're very encouraging. They're very reaffirming for what you do. And in that study, and these were a variety of legal services organizations that set these types of programs up just to test them out. 1 in 3 people who used these services reported positive outcomes that were both tangible and measurable. Intangible and measurable means, for example, that they were granted custody of their children, or they obtained public benefits they applied for, or they avoided a crisis such as eviction or foreclosure. And we see outcomes as a result of our interactions with LegalShield members that are tangible and measurable. And we see those types of things every day, where we help somebody save money, or we recover money for them. We help them avoid an unnecessary expense that they would otherwise have to pay had they not known what their rights were. We help them work out issues with their landlords or with their lenders. These are tangible and measurable outcomes. We see this every day. These are things that we know as true, and our civil justice system is just catching up to what we know is true. The majority of people who utilize these telephone services said that the services met some or all of their goals of seeking legal help. The majority of them did. So they called, they had a goal, and it was met by providing telephone assistance or some other limited benefits, which are limited services, which would be akin to or just like writing a letter that we do, or making a phone call, or reviewing a document for these folks. Half of the requests for services produce complete or partial solutions to their legal problems. That's a tremendous percentage of folks that they called in and their problem got solved. 6 in 10 achieved favorable results, and 8 in 10, 80% reported that the services that they received through these programs were helpful. And the report concluded that when these services are delivered by telephone, they are not only effective, but provide more convenient access to services that enable vastly more people to get legal help than would be possible if delivered exclusively through in-person methods with the same amount of resources. So what you do is facilitate the access to civil justice that is tremendously needed in this country and was so timely during this COVID pandemic. I mean, what you connected all of your customers to, all of your members to, was so helpful to them during the COVID pandemic.
Let me just turn down the.
And the program just really enables us to really get to a lot of people. And the volume of requests for services that we receive, right? It is so much greater than the volume of cases that are handled by any one of these individual legal aid providers.
I'm on a Zoom conference with the LegalShield lawyers, but I've been on one conference or screen all day.
I think I can hear Rob out there. Rob, would you mute yourself?
How was your day?
So I wanted to talk a little bit about responding to the changed sales environment, because I know that that's something that
I guess that's good.
has affected all of you.
Yeah, like a little bit overwhelming, like it just doesn't.
And I hope that I'm not venturing into territory that is unwelcome here, because we've had to talk about this as a staff, as well. We have had to respond to changes in how we do what we do. So a couple of things that I can suggest to you. Whoops, I'm going to go backwards there. The first is, during this time, if you're having a little bit of a lull, we would encourage you to increase your product knowledge and proficiency. It's always a good thing to dig in and learn more about the product that you're selling so that you can communicate it better to members. More so now than ever, it's a really important thing to be able to do. Change your marketing, consider changing your marketing strategy. We certainly have done some of this in 2020. You can use email clients out there. Some of them are free on a certain volume, like MailChimp or MyEmma. There are a wide variety of them out there that you can design really nice. They have templates you can design to send information out to folks. Engage in social media selling. Thank you to all of you who have shared our posts on our social media pages. I really appreciate that. And I'm putting that information out there. Hopefully, I'm putting things on our Facebook page, on our Twitter account that you feel comfortable sharing with others in your network. It's sort of I'm providing content, and believe me, I have you in mind when I'm providing a lot of that content, that you would be able to share that on your own social media platforms, and then you can comment on that or do whatever you want to do as it relates to your connections, your friends, those who view your social media pages as well. But yeah, engage in some social media selling. Quick videos and testimonials are something that you can do. If you haven't tried it out, try it. There's such a low bar for expectation on those in the marketplace. Don't worry that they're not professionally produced. Put them on your Facebook page. We have a YouTube page. If you haven't checked it out, I highly encourage you to do that. Just look for Fiffik Law Group, search us on YouTube, and you'll see a wide variety of videos that are on there, including a will training webinar that I would encourage you to share with each and every person that you sell a membership to. It's called Do I Need a Will? And it's going to explain to them why they need a will, why it's important for them to have a will, and walk them through filling out the will question. So it's really intended for new LegalShield members or those who have not accessed that benefit under their plan. But there are a lot of other videos on our YouTube channel that you should take a look at. I'd highly encourage you to check it out. And the content that you put out there should be specific content for the times. You could also increase and improve your online brand and presence. This is something that the attorneys on my staff know that we're continuing to work on out there. Google yourself. If you've never Googled yourself, see what comes up, because people might be looking for you out there. And you should know what your online presence and profile looks like out there. People are looking to shop online more so now than ever. You all know that. You're all online shoppers, I'm sure. Are you on social media platforms where your customers are? Do you separate your professional from your personal social media pages? So just some thoughts to share with you. Consider hosting virtual events. Other direct sales organizations have pivoted to doing online events like this one. We're doing an online virtual event, and they're seeing big increases in viewership and attendance. It's easy to put these together. You may find that you get a lot more people attending these types of events. Perhaps you could do a recruiting event, or just talk to people about your experience using the LegalShield membership and how it might be available to them. You know, your creativity is the only limit that you have in doing those types of things. You could also develop and implement a client service model. Now, if you're not familiar with a client service model, that's really it's like a sheet of paper, basically, where you categorize your existing members, your existing customers, and you can categorize them however you want. But if I were doing it, I might categorize them by their value, the benefit, the memberships they have, or the referral potential. They're going to be ones that are more important and less important. And then after you've categorized them, you can put a plan together for the type of contact and the frequency of contact that you have with them, intentional contact on an annual basis. So for your very important folks, you may send them a birthday card, or send them flowers or something like that, something a little bit more tangible, and contact them a few times a year. Whereas the folks who are less valuable to you, however you want to identify that, you might contact maybe only once a year just to check in and see how they're doing. But it's an intentional model to communicate with your customers and ask them for referrals, or just see how they are and how they're doing. And then finally, ask for referrals. Who do you know that needs something? Could you use some advice? Are you struggling with a problem? Ask for referrals. Ask folks who they know that might need some advice, might have been adversely impacted by the COVID pandemic, might need to talk to somebody about a will or a power of attorney, or a matter for their mom or their dad who are in a personal care facility. Any one of those things are different ways of responding to the changed environment. Let's see. Everybody still with me?
Counts as a piece.
Great.
Instead of 8.
So that's all. Those are the comments that I had. Hopefully it didn't take too long. I'm happy to answer any questions that
So it's
anybody
working, but I gotta tell you,
has.
I'm running to the bathroom every 20 minutes, it seems.
So if you post them to the chat, I think that would be the most organized way to do it.
I used to run to the bathroom a ton when I was younger and healthier.
Okay.
So I imagine it won't be this bad.
Oh,
but
please mute.
I think for now I'm probably just flushing out a lot of excess water weight.
Yeah, what is that?
That's good.
Because I've lost, like, you know, depending,
Robert?
my scale is crazy. Like this
Robert,
morning, I
please
weighed
mute.
myself.
I got it. So, what's going on out there in the field? What's happening out there?
I'm just stuck.
What can I help you with? What do you want to know?
I'll do that right.
Well, Michael, I guess I'll start. Now, I know that you seem like you focus this on the individuals, and I mean, like I said, I've been a member for many years. As a business owner myself and my son and all kinds of folks in and out my family, we already know that having a lawyer on retainer just to ask a question can leave you in a better situation. I've been having an issue getting some of the small business owners that I have contacted, which I was gonna like go full into small business, but COVID hit, so I've got a few contacts and I've been able to get them to watch a video. Several of them have been on Melissa Wilder's 1 o'clock Zoom. And they come back with this, well, everything seems to be okay now because the government is giving me money, so I don't need a lawyer, which in my opinion is when the government gives you anything, you definitely need a lawyer because when they come to take it back. Anyway, so that's do you have any tips, something that, that I can use to take away to the small business community? That's
Sure. Yeah, let me, so my practice, my personal practice is pretty focused on business related matters. I do a lot of small business work. I talk to a lot of small business owners all around the country. And, you know, what I would suggest to business owners is that they need to spend time. Their time should be focused on growing their business, right? Selling and what their strategies are and doing those types of things. And most business owners that I know don't have enough time to spend working on their business, right? The things that are on their business, working on policies, working on understanding employment related matters or HR matters or loan issues. They don't have a lot of time to spend on those types of things that aren't directly related to growing their business, making sales, and doing those types of things. We provide them, we're really a resource to them that allows them for a very low amount of money to not have to worry about those things as much. And if they come up, all they have to do is pick up the phone and call us. And they just have to get used to calling us because this is the challenge that we all have, right? It really gets back to that statistic that I shared. 25% of folks who have a legal problem, I mean, only 25% of folks who have a legal problem go to a lawyer to get it worked out because they think that the system is inaccessible to them or lawyers are inaccessible. It's that lack of access that really is born by this belief, which is true, that lawyers are expensive or the system's expensive, that causes them not to get it. We have to fight over that and say, you know, don't you want to have access to somebody who understands all of these various things that could have a material impact on your business? All you have to do is call them. And it could be anything. I mean, again, the limit is their creativity to call us. There aren't any business folks who, if they're aware, right, they would want somebody to, if they use a contract of any kind with a customer or a vendor, if they sign any type of a contract, they should let us take a look at it, right? There's no reason why they wouldn't take us a look at it. They're going to benefit from that. I guarantee you that they're going to benefit. And every business has contractual relationships. Business owners have a contractual relationship with their business because they're owners, they're employers, they're lenders. They have a contractual relationship if there's more than one business owner in the business. They should want to understand what those relationships mean. We can talk to them about those types of things. We can help them structure their businesses so that they operate more tax efficiently in many ways. We can help them mitigate risk. There isn't a business owner that I talk to that isn't concerned about risk. Risk of exposing their personal assets to their business activities. They're very concerned about that. We can help them work through those types of things. We can just serve as a board of directors. What business would not be improved by having an unbiased, non-interested, in essence, board of directors, a business consultant who is on retainer for them to call any day of the week that they want to get advice about anything related to their business. That would be the pitch that I would make. Why wouldn't you do that? I mean, why wouldn't you do that? Business owners can't possibly know all of the answers to everything that could impact their business. And they just think, if they think that the only reason they need a lawyer is if they get sued, and I hear that from some business owners. I've never been sued, so I haven't needed a lawyer. That's where
yes.
you really have to, you have a job of educating them about how to use the legal system to their advantage, right? To make the law work for them, not against them.
Hello, Michael. I have a question.
Fire away.
First of all, I want to thank you for getting this call going for all of us to get this information out. Definitely through these times everyone's going through with the COVID-19. Something I'm coming across through in the Pennsylvania market, the Philadelphia market, with businesses is the waivers that they have to sign or present. I'll give you an example as far as if you own a daycare, you got to have a waiver set up, and for people that's liable, for your children, to be liable or staff to be liable to get sick. Now, some of the businesses I understand, they're actually coming up with there's programs out there for $95. They could get templates put together for them or things of that sort. How would they benefit? I mean, I know that as far as calling it in, but is the firm, are your firm going to walk them through steps as far as the correct legal jargon to sign, put a document together, or help them to understand their rights on their employees' rights as far as the waiver aspect of it, or should they present this for the business to get the business reopened? Because that's what I'm coming across with a lot of individuals that are ready to reopen. They're just scared on the what if someone gets sick aspect of it.
Yeah, Lawrence, thank you for that question. We actually have a package that we have for $99. It is specifically tailored to businesses who are reopening their business. They're inviting workers back to work. It has a wide variety of templates, documents, waivers, things of that nature included in it. And we can help them tailor it to their particular needs. We already have a package already put together, nice and neat, ready to go. So the answer to your question is tell them to call us. It's a pretty simple answer, right?
Excellent. And is that with the small business plan? Is that something added to that they have access to with the small business plan, just in general?
I It's something that we are providing as a provider firm that we've put together. That is a customized package of documents that we've put together. I don't know if LegalShield is offering an additional package like that over and above. If they are, I'm not aware of it. Okay.
Hi, Mike. This is Jim from Philadelphia.
Hi, Jim. How you doing?
Okay. Hey, it used to be a way to a member could go into their site and have access to a lot of documents from the state of Pennsylvania. Things like rentals agreement and legal carry. And well, that's not available anymore. And we have to go to something called shakelaw.com. And that site's terrible. There's only like 4 or 5 forms available. Their FAQ does not work. Their email bounces. There's no phone number associated with it. And I think it's wrong that a member should have to go to a different website outside their member's website. Is there any talk about coming back to the way it used to be where a member logs in and have access to all those documents?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to your question, Jim. It's a very good question. I don't know what LegalShield is doing to make those forms available. You know, we have forms that we can make available to members from time to time, depending on what they need. So I would suggest that they call us and see if there's something that we can provide to them at no additional cost.
Well, that's a problem, Mike, because so they have to call and then wait for a return phone call. And then it's just back and forth. And there used to be dozens and dozens of forms available. And that was a good selling point because they would bring up LegalZoom. And I could bring up, hey, look at this. You have all these forms, part of the membership already. And it just seems that it's a shame that we got away from that.
Yeah, I would definitely, that's a concern that you should share with the home office. I'll take notes of the call and, you know, I'll share it with our go-between with the home office as well to say that there was a question about it. Maybe there can be some communication.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Mike, if I can just add, they haven't done anything on that shake, I don't think, for a couple of years now. They were soliciting form documents from us, all the providers, to make state-specific forms accessible. I do still have our list of documents that we have, you know, right now until I guess we can sort this out with LegalShield as to what they're planning on doing, you know, because I know members do call in routinely looking for forms and we try to provide what we have. But yes, they should have, I mean, the whole point of Shake was, you know, ideally to have members be able to go in, fill out the form, submit it to their provider, have us take a look at it. And it seems to me like that's not what's happening, so.
Correct.
Thanks, Gordon. Keep them coming. Any other?
Michael?
Certainly got to be lots of questions out there.
Michael,
Yes.
while you're there, I also have a question about wills versus trust. The will actually comes included with the family plan or the individual plan. And if someone needed consultation on doing a trust, what does your law firm do? I mean, is it a flat fee? Is there another form they need to fill out?
Yeah, so it's like trusts are like saying, what do we do about cars? There are lots of different cars, right? There's a Mercedes and there's the bottom line, right? And that's the way trusts are too. There are lots and lots of different ones. The membership, the estate planning benefit under the membership is for a will. It doesn't cover a trust. If they want a trust done, then we will do that for them under the preferred member discount, and we would typically do it as a flat fee. And if it's the type of a trust that would be in place of a will, right? Or just a sort of a basic living trust, you know, that's not going to be a terribly expensive thing for us to prepare for them. The challenge for folks who do trusts is maintenance. They have to transfer their assets, retitle their assets into the name of the trust. That's not a step that they would have to do if they just prepare a will. And then during their lifetime, they have to be pretty diligent at making sure that the assets that they acquire are titled in the name of the trust. Otherwise, it sort of defeats the whole purpose. And, you know, I usually have one of those trusts around somewhere. they're gigantic. And I've never met somebody who's had one of those big living trusts done that understands them. They're sort of bewildering. And I think that the folks that produce those charge by the page or something. Very many people who ask to have a living trust prepared. But if they do, and we do lots of different trusts, we do lots of trusts that are specific for tax planning, for making gifts to children, charitable trusts. We do a wide variety of them. Those are all covered under the preferred member discount. And typically we would do them as a flat fee.
Flat fee, okay.
Okay?
Yes, thank you.
Hey, Mike, this is Troy Salafi from Philadelphia. Real quick, my understanding is that they allow for the typical trust for the minor child because of, like, if you have life insurance, if you don't have a typical trust in place, it won't cover, you know, if the parent passes. It's been my experience that you guys have done that at no additional charge for our members. Is that correct or incorrect?
Yeah, Troy, thank you for that question. I appreciate that. I should clarify. Whenever we prepare a will, we will include some trusts in the will. Those are called testamentary trusts that really don't become active until after the person passes away. And those trusts might be there to receive and manage money for minors or for folks who are incapacitated for some reason. They have a mental or physical challenge or disability that prevents them from managing their money on their own, or perhaps they are beneficiaries of a government benefit or program that is resource eligible and they can't receive that money or it'll make them ineligible. Those are the typical types of trusts that we will include in wills that we prepare for LegalShield members at no additional charge.
Thank you for that clarification, because that is, to me, that is one of the real key things that honestly has been a really top seller for myself as an insurance agent working with people that have minor children. So it's been a really strong selling point. So thank you.
Yes. Yes, and there is also something called a medical consent authorization in Pennsylvania that parents can fill out, giving somebody else the ability to make medical decisions for their children when mom or dad aren't available. And so that's a pretty important document to have, especially if you leave your children with grandma or grandpa or your aunt or uncle or, you know, a family friend who watches them, especially during this COVID pandemic, if daycares aren't quite as much available. That's something that we will prepare for free for parents if they call in and ask us to provide them with a medical consent authorization for their children. So any of you who have kids that leave them with somebody else for any length of time, you might want to have one of these and give it to that person so that in case of an emergency and you can't be reached, that person can make decisions, medical decisions for your children. What else is going on out there?
Mike, I'm going to make a suggestion. The woman that started out asking about what to say to get the prospects more interested, not just in whether they get their PPP funding from the government, review the, I call it the savings tool. LegalShield calls it the proposal tool for small business, and the questions in there. Those questions will make the prospect think about the things that they actually need to have the plans for. And it goes through a broad variety: collections, document review, consultation, some of the things that are in the Go Small Biz add-on component. And by having a conversation about those questions, you'll actually get them to sell themselves on a plan. And if you use that process, there's also a computer algorithm that can be used that they can plug the information in and develop a report for them. I'll put the website in the chat if I remember it correctly.
Thank you.
What else is happening out there? Any other questions? Laura or Addie, do you have anything you want to add? Is Addie still on the call?
Mike.
Hello, yes?
Yeah, it's Tony Whiting Sr. out of Philadelphia.
Hi, Tony.
Hey, listen, one of the things that I've been getting a little bit frequent, especially during COVID, is I'm getting a lot of questions in regards to real estate. The biggest one being the quick claim deeds. And one of the things that people want to know, like, okay, how much is it going to cost? And is there a way that we can get something, things that are similar like a trust, things that you guys see on a regular basis, that we could get a pricing for? Because they want to know, okay, the membership is this, but how much is that going to cost? Because I'm talking to somebody else. Is there anything we can offer for something like that?
When you say a quick claim deed, what do you mean specifically? What kind of, tell me the situation.
Like I had one individual who literally just wanted to put his wife on the deed.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, we charge a flat fee for those. I think it's the cost plus like $250 or something is typically what we charge. You know, those are surprisingly complicated things to talk to folks about. And we just recently had a more detailed conversation about issues relating to putting names on deeds. And I should do a little webinar on them, and you're giving me that idea. I'll probably put something on our YouTube channel about it, because there are so many things that people don't think about whenever they call in and say, I want to put my daughter on the deed. And sometimes their goal is, I just want to make sure that she gets it after I die, and that's perfectly appropriate. But we want to make sure that they understand, okay, by doing that, here are all the things that we think that you need to understand so that you can make an informed decision about putting your daughter on the deed. You know, if your daughter gets sued and there's a judgment against her, now there's a lien on your house. Or if you give your daughter your house now and she sells it later, she'll pay more in capital gains tax, and that rate's higher than inheritance tax. You know, it's like a money savings tax. We want to make sure that people are informed. That's what we do. So, and then if they make a decision they want us to do it, we'd be happy to. Yeah, we get a lot of those requests, Tony, those types of requests. And I can tell you, it's a flat fee. Usually, I think we charge $250, and then whatever the filing fees are. Typically, they're not realty transfer taxes because they're all often inter-family transfers that are exempt from realty transfer taxes. But we do that. We try to make that as quick as possible so that we get it out to them and they can get it back to us.
Okay, and one last thing. Staying with family situations. I know that you guys, as of January 1, when it comes to uncontested divorces, now you guys do the paperwork, but it's up to the member to then go and file it and stuff like that. With COVID going on right now, that wasn't happening before until January 1 this year. So with COVID happening right now, people can't get out. Is there something else in place that can be done for a member that's going through the divorce proceedings? It is uncontested, but they can't get out to file.
Yeah, Deshawn Furness is the attorney that manages those primarily for us. And I haven't talked with her about what she's doing, but if it needed to be filed and somebody didn't feel comfortable filing it and we could electronically file it, we would be happy to do it.
Okay. Is that just during the pandemic? That's just during the pandemic, though, right?
That would be as a courtesy during the pandemic because, you know, registers or pathonetaries are less accessible during that time. Yeah, we can do that. Absolutely.
Can you go back over that again? Because I had no idea that changed. I'm confused. What happened there?
We changed a little bit of how the process, what we do for folks in uncontested divorces. We prepare the paperwork and we provide it to folks to file on their own, and we provide them instructions on how to do that. That's a bit of a change from what we were doing before, where we were doing a lot of the processing and filing on ourselves. We found that it was really difficult to get folks to follow through on those things. And we were spending a lot of time playing phone tag and trying to get documents from folks, getting information from folks to get these things done. And so we decided to change a little bit how we're doing it and do it more to switch from doing it for you to doing it with you. That's how I would describe what we're doing.
So is that as of January 1st, new members, or are the old members still under the old version?
Any request for the uncontested divorce benefit, my lights just went out in my office, would fall under that process, regardless of when the person became a member. I'll turn it back on. Their motion's censored, so
yeah,
you just have to stand up in there. It should come back on. There we go.
Okay. Hey, Mike, thank God you put on your pants today, right?
Yeah, that's right. I have a full suit on,
That was good.
You feel special.
I don't know if you've been on some Zoom calls, the people stand up and they forget. They're like, oh!
I have not had that displeasure yet, thank God.
Oh, that hurt.
Oh, my.
By the way, real quick, I want to give a shout out to Mike because I had a circumstance literally at the end of April that really was crazy. I was in the midst of a lease purchase deal. I put $7,000 down on the property, and the woman and her husband at the end of the deal decided that they didn't want to prolong the contract because some things happened with the lending. And they decided that they were going to keep $4,000 of my $7,000. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, Mike, I'm ready to kill somebody, help. And he literally had to talk me down off a ledge a couple times, I'm being honest. But I want to say thank you because he was able to get them to agree to return my $7,000. Now, contractually, I knew what they had to do because I'm a mortgage broker. So I understood the process, but the challenge was they were unrelentless about wanting to keep my $4,000 of the $7,000. Had I not had LegalShield, it would have cost me half of that money or more to fight the claim. But because of having LegalShield, Mike stepped in, he interfaced with their attorney, he created his magic, he waved his magic wand about, and was able to get them to sign a letter to give me back the full amount of my money. So I wanted to say thank you publicly because many times we complain about the things that aren't working. So I wanted to make sure that people were clear on what did work. So with that, I appreciate you, Mike. Thank you so very much, and I turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Troy. You're very kind. Thank you.
Mike, I have a question. It's Debbie Hickman. Just so that I'm giving out the correct information to my customers, can we get an updated list of things that have changed? Because when we were doing presentation, we're talking to people, we're saying this is a part of your membership. So now I have to reword it and say they will assist you in the uncontested divorce. So is there some things that, like the updated, I didn't know the forms were gone. So is there a list of things that's been changed that we can know to make sure that we're giving out the right information so our customers are not upset with us when we're saying one thing and here they call you guys and they say, no, we don't do that. We'll help you through it, but we don't actually do the work for you. So if there's a way to get us like anything that has changed.
Yeah, I think maybe what I can do as it relates to the uncontested divorce, in the next associate newsletter that I circulate, maybe we can put an article in there that describes the process. And do that.
Or yes, or in the newsletter, just put different things that have changed versus what we're saying out here to, to the troops.
Well, I don't know what you're saying, Debbie.
Well, we're saying what's on the slideshow. We're actually saying what's exactly on the slideshow, and it's 4 hours. They will call you back in less than 4 hours. That changed. So we have to stop saying that because it's not 4 hours. So there's some things that we're not getting communicated through LegalShield, so it's best if we get communicated through our law firm who actually know what exactly we offer. So there's some things we just have to take out of the slideshow, stop saying to our customers.
That's a good
because
call
it's
out.
not true.
That's a good call out. We'll try to be a little more mindful of recognizing when something might be a change as from your view, and share that with you.
Thank you.
That's good. I appreciate that. And we are going to try to do more intentional training type videos like this. We'll do some sessions, and if folks want to attend, great. If not, we'll record them and then we'll post them for anybody to see on a going forward basis. We're going to do that a little bit more this year.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Do we actually have the 4-hour time frame now, or did they remove it back to 8?
That's a question for Noemi or Belinda.
I will have to get back to you on that. I believe it was same day for a while, especially due to COVID-19. I don't know if they have changed it back to the 4-hour time frame. A lot of the provider firms were struggling when this hit because many of them did not have the setup like what we had. And so they were scrambling to get their attorneys remote. So LegalShield was giving everyone, some space. And I have not heard back that they've changed it back, but we certainly can find out and let you know when that is.
Right. We also switched over the computer system that we used to connect to LegalShield that manages the intakes and all the things that we do. That has also changed. And we were all, they sort of released and put us on that platform while they were still developing it. It's called Adonis. It may be coming to you in the near future if you haven't already had the pleasure of working with it. And so it's like a moving target. And that was also, could have been causing some issues too for folks. But, our customer service numbers are pretty good this year. So hopefully it didn't make people too unhappy.
Yeah, I will say our calls have dramatically increased. I know on Mondays we're fielding well over 200 calls, and we are still managing in most circumstances to get back to everybody the same day. So, and usually well within 6 hours, the attorneys are very good right now at getting back to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
They were struggling before to even make 8. So I'm like, why did they do that? Like, to me, I think it's so much more fair to allow the 4 to 8 hours. So when I do my presentations, I say 4 to 8 hours. I don't say 4 hours because I don't think it's fair to the attorneys to put them under that type of stress. That's just too much, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think if you say same business day, 8 business hours you're probably safe with it.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure. It's a really good thing to do to create the appropriate set of expectations. I'm very happy that you're all working at doing that out there. I really appreciate that. It's a real team concept kind of a thing. You create the right expectations and we over deliver and we have happy members. So I appreciate very much you all doing that.
Hey, Mr. Fiffik, this is Harvey Fox here. How are you?
Good, Harvey. How are you?
Any better, I'd be you. It's my favorite saying. Hey,
you don't want to be me.
A quick question. I focus a lot on transportation, truck drivers, trucking companies, and in the trainings, I have had this question answered several different ways. You guys don't handle the commercial driver's legal plan. That's through a different law firm, a different set of attorneys. However, let's say a driver enrolls in that plan, but also enrolls in the family legal plan, has the 24/7 emergency access, and he gets pulled over, and the cop wants to search the truck. I've had answers where no, they cannot use it 24/7 because it's work related. I've had others, people say yes, they can. So from your perspective, being that you guys handle the 24/7 end of it, how does that play in from a truck driver? Yes, he's on the job in his truck, but when a police officer wants to search the truck?
I'm not sure I have a good answer for you, Harvey. I would say, in my view, I don't know why a member would not be able to use the 24/7 benefit, the emergency access benefit, if they're being detained by the police for any reason. So that's my understanding of the benefit itself. When a member calls the emergency access line, they're actually calling the home office, and they have their own rules about what calls they put through and what calls they don't put through. So whatever they've decided to put through to us, we answer each and every one of those calls. We don't decline any of them. So if somebody in that situation was calling and they don't get put through to us, that is an issue at the home office. We never decline a call that is put through to us on the emergency access line. So for us, the answer is easy. We answer them all. It doesn't matter. We don't ask those types of benefit questions on emergency access calls. We just answer the legal issue.
To be clear, I haven't really heard of any member having had the 24/7 call declined. But as you talk to truck drivers, I've had that question come up to me, and I want to make sure I present it properly. So if I understand right, that's more or less a corporate decision if they want to pass it on through to you guys. So I appreciate it. Thank you. And
Yeah.
thank you for doing this training.
Oh, you're welcome. I would be surprised if they don't put them through, but that's a good question to ask the home office. I would be surprised. They typically
Got to get a
tend
truck driver to try it, right?
Yeah.
Something to think about, Harvey, on that. I don't believe the CDLP plan has the 24/7, so it might depend on which plan they have. If they have both the CDLP and the family plan, that may give them more options. And that would be something to dig into with home office more.
Thanks, Rod.
Sure.
Mr. Fiffik, this is Serena Wolf from Philadelphia.
Hi, Serena.
Hi. Thanks for doing this call today.
Sure.
You look nice dressed up. I haven't been dressed in months. Hence the no picture today. Anyways, I had a question about the will. I literally am in the middle of updating my will, and I was taking a look, at it through the app. And you know how you have the questionnaire and everything. But according to our slides, because I just want to be clear, our slide specifically says, and you might not know this, but it says lawyers prepare your will, your living will, healthcare power of attorney, and financial power of attorney. And the last time I did my will was a little bit ago, a little more than a little bit ago. So I wanted to update it, but I wanted to be clear on how can I access those 4 documents, because the will questionnaire is it's not really long, it's kind of short. And years ago I heard that like if you do them all together at one time, then you won't be charged any additional costs. Do you know how that works?
Yes. So the first thing that I want everybody to understand about the will questionnaire on the app, it's really intended as a conversation starter, not the complete list of questions that we're going to need to have answers to in order to complete those various documents for folks. Most people's lives are more complicated than the questions that are on that app. So it's really intended to reduce some friction between the member and us that makes it easier for them to get the process started. If they get the process started, they're going to talk to some very nice folks in my office, and they're going to make it easier, hopefully easier, for those folks to follow through and get all of those things done. Ideally, from our point of view, members would complete the will questionnaire that they can get on our website. They can download it. I think they can even do it on our website and send it to us. And that'll give us most of the information that we need. They're going to get a call from a staff member to verify information, fill in missing questions that the member doesn't answer, forgets to answer, those types of things. But that's the ideal process.
If I may, Mike, if you want to
No.
call the, if you call
Please, she's going to give you a completely different answer, and I'm going to tell you, believe her, not me.
If you call the customer service number for our office, we'll be more than happy to email you the will questionnaire, and it's a fillable form.
Fillable form. Fillable meaning you just do it online and then send it right back to us.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to print it or anything.
That's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, but can I just clarify, but we can get all 4 of those documents done, right?
Yes, the living will and the healthcare power of attorney are one document. It's a combined document.
Right.
So it's not 4, it's just, it would be 3.
Well, yeah, okay.
Right? And if you have children, ask for the medical consent authorization, then it's 4.
Yeah, I need that.
And also, just be specific that you want the power of attorney, the financial power of attorney done.
Right.
Okay.
And husbands don't count as children. I just want to make sure everybody knows that.
That's why I don't have one.
Marina, you know you have me. Stop it.
Except you, boo-boo.
Hey, how are you, Mike? Kevin Mack here. How
Hi,
you
Kevin.
doing?
Thanks for joining us.
Oh, man, what a pleasure. Appreciate what you do. Again, we have no business without you. Just one thing that I want to recommend, if you will, and suggest is that we do make that communication a big deal when policy changes, any rules that change. I don't know if maybe if we can connect through you guys' Facebook page, we can make it a point that all of us as associates know that we need to just personally check in once a month with the law firm's Facebook page so that we can see what changes do come about, because what we tend to jeopardize if we aren't aware of changes is the idea of under promising, and a lot of times that is what ends up happening. Like my daughter, concerning the ID shield, her and her best friend were down protesting, and her best friend actually lost her wallet. And I wish somebody would have done the right thing by dropping it in the mailbox, but that evening someone tried to charge $1,200. Yeah, and so they did access ID Shield, and ID Shield said that they would call them back on Monday at 11 a.m. And I didn't know that existed, but it sounded good. I'm like, oh, wow, they committed to call you back at a certain time. However, ID Shield didn't call back. And my daughter, were like, this isn't good service because they said they would call back. And so I told my daughter, I said, I'd rather they not told you guys that. I wish they would have perhaps just given you guys a time for her best friend to call them back. But it created a situation where, we surely didn't deliver on what we said we would do. And so that's what happens when these slight policy changes between you guys and corporate doesn't tell the field, and then we don't get it from the law firm. And now we're in a situation with our members where, hey, the service just not doing what it said it would do. And the members, like, I would have been fine if you never told me that. But because you told me that, now your service isn't doing what it said it was. And I would have been good without it. So, yeah, if we can make that communication a big deal, and we'll let the platform for you guys' Facebook page to be a resource, and everybody can now create a habit of checking that out, and then we can be a little bit closer.
Yeah, we will definitely do that. That's a good call out. We're trying to do more communication with you all this year. This is the second of the Zoom calls that we've done this year with folks, and our participation in this one has increased, and we're very happy about that. We're going to continue to do them, and we're sending out quarterly newsletters to the associates as well on things that are specifically related to you all. So I think I sent an invitation to ask to join your Facebook group. Whoever manages the Facebook group, please look for my request. And if you accept me into your group,
yeah, that'd be great.
I will share humorous anecdotes about Troy Slaffy as many times as I want. I'm just kidding. I will endeavor to provide you with more targeted communications within that group if that works for you.
That'd be great. All right, thanks a lot.
Sure.
I apologize. I got to jump off because I have a launch party. Appreciate
That's fine.
so very much. You guys have an incredible evening.
Thank
on
you.
purpose.
And we have time for maybe one final call, and we're going to go ahead and tie it up. Any final questions? All right. Well, hearing none. Somebody, go ahead, fire away.
Yeah, I'm sorry, sir. This is Richard Eller. I appreciate your
Rich.
time today, sir. All right, real quick question. And maybe this was it. I jumped on a little while ago, so maybe you covered this, or I apologize. But real quick, it was maybe an unusual question, but just can't pop into my head. If you were an associate marketing this membership, what would be the one or two or three things you would highlight? Obviously, everyone different, but what would be the one, two, or three things that you would highlight to a prospect on why they should get this membership?
Well, number one, there's an immediate return on investment if they get their wills, powers of attorney, and healthcare done. And so few Americans get their wills done, it's really shocking, right? But what I would tell folks is that the law, it might be a surprise to them. I'll let them in on a secret, right? The law can work for you. It doesn't have to work against you. It can work for you. And if you would like the law to work for you, to make your life easier, to make your life less expensive, and more friction-free, right? Try us out, because there's no commitment to it, right? It's really a no-lose situation. Get your will done and then kick the tires. Think about ways of calling us, and we can find ways to help you. The law can work for them. I mean, it's more of a concept. If they think about it from the standpoint of, are there distinct things that whatever their paradigm is for when I need a lawyer, right? That's more of a difficult proposition, because they're going to be thinking, I need a lawyer if I get sued, if I get divorced or something like that. And certainly those traumatic things happen in people's lives, but infrequently. More frequently, people just need to talk to somebody to get a leg up in life. And they oftentimes do not recognize that whatever that situation is that they have going on is really a legal situation. And we can help them. So we can be their own personal consultant, their own personal board of directors, whatever it is. Everybody needs friends to talk to get advice from, and to get some help. Everybody needs help in this life. We're pretty powerful help for them. In their pocket. And they just have to give us a chance and let us try to do that for them. It's really a game-changing experience.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Sure. I've not tried that out on anybody. But if you do, let me know how it works.
I will.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you again for joining us. We will do these more regularly, and I really appreciate you tuning in. Let your friends know. We're recording this Zoom, so I will probably post this on our YouTube channel as well. So if you know somebody that wasn't able to attend, you can let them know to look for it on our YouTube channel, probably beginning tomorrow, and they can watch it. So
thanks, Mike.
Everybody.
Good job.
Bye-bye.
Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Awesome call.
Good job.
Have a great night.